The soldiers never noticed her at first. To them, she was just a woman in a gray uniform, sweeping the training grounds, emptying the trash bins, and mopping the mud-streaked hallways. They called her the cleaning lady and her name. Every morning at dawn, while 500 soldiers trained in perfect rows, she worked silently in the background. Sometimes she'd pause to watch them, her eyes soft, as if she saw more than just drills and shouting sergeants. But the soldiers, they saw only her mop and her wrinkled hands. Some even laughed, whispering, "What's she doing here? She's no soldier." But fate has a way of testing people when least expected. One scorching afternoon, during a field exercise, the soldiers were tasked with maneuvering Humvees across the rough terrain. Engines roared, dirt flew, and the air buzzed with excitement. That's when it happened. One of the vehicles veered, hit a deep ditch, and toppled partially on its side. A recruit's scream cut through the chaos. His leg was pinned beneath the weight of the Humvee. Panic rippled through the unit. The commanding officer barked orders. Soldiers rushed forward, but it was useless. The machine weighed over 5,000 pounds. 10 men strained against the steel frame, their faces red, muscles trembling, but it didn't budge an inch. The recruits' cries grew weaker. And that's when the cleaning lady dropped her broom. Without a word, she walked forward. The soldiers, still straining, turned and stared. Some chuckled nervously. "What's she going to do?" someone muttered. But her face was calm, her eyes steady. She pressed her palms to the edge of the Humvee, drew in a slow breath, and then, with a roar that seemed to come from deep inside her soul, she lifted. Not an inch, not a wobble. She lifted. The soldiers froze, mouths open, as the woman who had scrubbed their floors and picked up after their meals raised the side of the Humvee high enough for others to drag the trapped recruit free. The moment lasted only seconds, but it felt like eternity. When she let go, the vehicle crashed back into the dirt with a thud. Silence. Only the rescued recruit's sobs broke the stillness. The soldiers stood there, 500 pairs of eyes fixed on her, and not with laughter anymore, but with awe. The commander finally found his voice. "How broken bar, how did you do that?" She wiped the dirt from her hands, shrugged lightly, and whispered, "A mother never forgets how to protect her children." It turned out, she wasn't just a cleaning lady. Years before, she had been a national-level weightlifter, a champion who once carried her country's flag on the world stage. But life had taken her medals, her career, and even her husband. To feed her family, she took the only job available: cleaning. No one asked her story until that day. No one cared to look past her uniform. But after the Humvee, everything changed. Soldiers who once ignored her began greeting her with respect. Recruits stopped to carry her mop bucket. And the young man she saved, he never forgot. On graduation day, he saluted her, not out of duty, but out of gratitude. In the end, she taught 500 soldiers something their drills never could: strength isn't always loud, and heroes don't always wear medals or uniforms. Sometimes, the greatest power lies in quiet hands that carry burdens no one else sees. The recruit she had saved, a private Milville, was still trembling when the medics carried him off. His eyes never left her. "Thank you, ma'am," he whispered, his voice breaking. "You broken bar, you saved my life." She only gave a small nod, almost embarrassed, and picked up her broom again. To her, it was enough that he was alive. But for the soldiers, it wasn't so simple. Whispers spread like wildfire across the base. "Did you see her arms? She just lifted that thing." "No, why, a broken bar, no one can do that. She's stronger than half the platoon put together." That evening in the mess hall, the chatter was louder than usual. One recruit finally asked the question out loud. "Ma'am, a broken bar, who are you?" She paused, setting her tray down gently. For a moment, it seemed she wouldn't answer. Then she smiled faintly. "Once, a long time ago, I was someone who lifted weights instead of buckets. But life doesn't ask if you want to keep your medals. Life just keeps moving." A hush fell over the room. The men and women who had once laughed now listened as if every word she spoke was a lesson. She told them pieces of her story, and not the polished version, but the honest one. How she had been a champion in her youth, standing on platforms while crowds cheered. How she had dreamed of a future built on strength and pride. And how, when tragedy struck her family, she laid all of it down to take care of those she loved. "You see," she said softly, Lifting a barbell is one thing, but lifting the weight of your family, day after day, when no one claps for you, a broken bar, that's the harder kind of strength. Her words hung in the air, heavier than steel plates. From then on, the soldiers saw her differently. Some started stopping to carry heavy boxes for her. Others asked about her training, and she would quietly give them tips. She became something no one had expected, a mentor. But the greatest change came from Private Miller, the young recruit whose life she saved. He visited her every evening during her rounds, walking beside her as she swept the halls. "You didn't just save me," he told her one night. "You saved how I think about strength. I used to believe it was about muscles, about who could shout the loudest. But you." He stopped, searching for the right words. "You showed me strength is about love." Her eyes glistened, but she quickly looked away. "Don't tell me that," she whispered. "Tell it to your brothers and sisters in uniform. They're the ones who need to carry it forward." And he did. On graduation day, when the new soldiers marched in crisp formation, Private Miller asked to speak. He broke ranks, turned to the crowd, and lifted his hand in salute, not to the officers on the stage, not to the flag fluttering above you, but to the woman in the gray uniform standing quietly at the edge. The entire company followed, 500 soldiers raising their hands in unison, saluting the cleaning lady who was no longer just a cleaning lady. She was their hero. For the first time in years, she felt tears slide down her cheeks. Not because of the honor, but because she realized something. Her story wasn't finished. She thought her medals had been lost to the past, but in truth, her greatest victory had only just been won, at teaching a new generation what true strength really means. And as the soldiers' salute shimmered in the sunlight, she whispered to herself, "A mother never forgets how to protect her children."